All right, this is the latest update on what is happening in Nigeria right now. Remember the episode of December 26th, the first episode I made when this whole military operation by the United States started in Nigeria on Christmas Day with the airstrike that hit two Nigerian states, Sokoto State and Kwara State. Now the US has kickstarted the second phase of the operation, a large-scale military surveillance operation in Sambisa Forest, very close to the Niger Republic border with Nigeria. And I want to take you back to what Ibrahim Traore said in the second AES summit that happened this last week, this December. Ibrahim Traore said that West Africa is about to enter a dark winter. He alluded to wolves hunters, like the people that will come and destabilize our region. They are going to use their own brothers and their own sisters to fight against them. Everybody thought it was a joke or one of those Ibrahim Traore words of wisdom that don't literally mean what it sounded like. But from what we can see right now that is happening in Nigeria, we can see that this is going to be taken literally going forward. It is not a figure of speech, so to speak, because the US is stamping their feet military-wise in Nigeria right now along the Niger Republic border. Now, here is the thing. I am not making this up. I am not the only one who think that this operation in Nigeria is all about the containment of the alliance of Sahel states. Niger Republic, the country, one of the countries of the AES that shares a very long border with Nigeria, they also agree with this assessment that I am making out of this military operation that the US is carrying out in Nigeria. Now, check this out. The revolutionary leader, Abdurrahman Chiani of Niger Republic, on December 27th, ordered a large-scale military mobilization, and he called on every able-bodied man and woman in the country to enlist and join the military. Now, this is them in preparation for the fallout of what we are seeing happening in Nigeria right now. And a lot of Nigerians, they answered the call for the protection and security of their own motherland. As I speak to you now, more than 16,000 people have enlisted in the Niger military. And this is the interesting part that you need to note. Niger currently have between 40,000 to 50,000 personnel in their military. And based on the latest development we are seeing right now in Nigeria, the government of Abdurrahman Chiani is targeting to increase the military size to 100,000 personnel, which will put them at the top of the biggest army in West Africa after Nigeria. This is a very significant development. We are beginning to see a large-scale military mobilization, the kind that we have never seen in West Africa before. And this is significant when you look at the stakes or what is on the line. Because, like I said in my video on December 26th, I told you guys that the target is to chase all these terrorists, the ones that are fleeing from the AES, especially JNM and other ISIS-affiliated terror organizations. They want to chase them back to the alliance of Sahel states. The goal is to intensify the destabilization efforts we have been seeing in the AES ever since they made a decision to take control of their resources, ever since they made the decision to become a truly sovereign African country. They don't like this. They don't want this to continue. More than that, they don't want the ideology to spread to coastal West Africa. They don't want the ideology of sovereignty and independence they don't want the contagion effect to continue because it always comes with military coups. We have seen a lot of military coups happen ever since the AES became a thing in West Africa and Africa in general. Some of these coups are genuine. Most of them are copycat coups. At the end of the day, we all know the real coups and we know the fake coups. The coup that happened in Guinea-Bissau, I reported it. It was a fake coup and now it's a confirmed fact. It was a fake coup. The one that happened in Gabon, it was a fake coup. The one that happened in Guinea-Conakry, it is a fake coup because Domboya, the military guy that took over back in 2021, yesterday they held an election to transition him to a civilian president. And he has manipulated all the constitution he can manipulate. He has barred every opponent that he can bar. And he got away with it. There was no outcry from ECOWAS. There was no condemnation from the African Union. Why? Because he is an implant of French in West Africa. The goal is simple. Take advantage of the coup in Africa, in West Africa. Reset the balance of power. Use the opportunity to plant French assets and puppets within the government in West Africa through military coups, of course. Domboya, this guy in Guinea-Conakry, the one that just held an election yesterday, he's going to win the election. He's going to be declared the president of Guinea-Conakry because there is no real opponent. He made sure of that. And what does that mean? It means that he will now, in a few months after consolidating power, as a civilian president, of course, he's going to join ECOWAS. He's going to start preaching democracy, and he's going to increase pressure on the AES. So they are fighting the AES from so many fronts. And the most dangerous front right now is what is happening in Nigeria. Now, check this out. Do you think if the goal is to save Christians or fight terrorism in Nigeria, do you think the president of Nigeria, the commander-in-chief, will jet out of the country on holiday? Like, as I speak to you now, the president of Nigeria is not even in the country. At the same time that a foreign power is conducting military operation in his country, the commander-in-chief is not in the country. My point here is simple. The goal is not Nigeria. The goal is not to protect Christians in Nigeria. Of course, I am not disputing the fact that Christians are being targeted. We all know that Islamists, jihadists, they don't like Christians. They don't like anyone that is not a Muslim. So the idea is a total Islamization of Nigeria, and they are not even hiding it. Now, if the goal is to stop terrorism in Nigeria, why is the commander-in-chief not in the country? Why has he not addressed Nigerians ever since this operation began? All the information we have been hearing from the Nigerian government has been coming from aides, presidential aides, the foreign minister, and all the people that are close to power. We have not heard a nationwide address from the president of Nigeria ever since this operation began. If it is a serious operation like they are making out to be, surely the president of Nigeria would have addressed Nigeria by now. He will not have the luxury of jetting out of the country for some holiday when your own country is burning. So the goal is simple. Chase all these insurgents. Chase them back to the AES. That is where they want them to be. They don't want them in Nigeria. They want them to go back to the AES to continue causing the maximum damage as long as they destabilize the revolutionary government in Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. That is the goal. We already saw reports that these jihadists in the AES, they are getting support and assistance through a proxy, Ukraine in Mali. The goal, they have been choking Mali's economy for months now. they have been launching assaults on fuel convoys coming into Mali, and they have been making sure that Mali does not get fuel supply. And if you want to understand whose interest they are serving, go to Western media networks, their news channels, their news websites, and read how they report these sabotage operations in Mali. You will understand that they are painting them like freedom fighters. They are painting them like they are fighting for justice. That is the kind of message I get whenever I read news, especially the ones coming from France and other Western media outlets. They are reporting that in fact, they are almost glorifying the military strength of these terrorists in Mali, in Burkina Faso, and Niger. They are glorifying the damage they are doing. They are glamorizing and sensationalizing the report of these terrorist activities in Mali, in the AES. And that tells you that what they are doing in the Sahel is exactly what they want them to continue doing. And Nigeria, of course, I have said it over and over again. Donald Trump, the US or Western powers, they don't care about the black race. They don't care about Africans. All they care about is control. All they care about is power. All they care about is to counter China in Africa. All they care about is to continue the extraction relationship they have with every African country. The goal is to continue plundering Africa unrestricted without competition from China or Russia. That is the goal. So now, as I speak to you right now, there is a large-scale surveillance operation in Nigeria along the Niger Republic border. The goal is to encamp the AES from Niger Republic. The goal is to surveil and prepare for a possible escalation of military action across the Sahel. Ibrahim Traore, he has intelligence. He knows that this is coming, and he has made it very clear that West Africa is heading into a dark winter. It means that the AES will not take it lying down. It means that they will fight back. And when they fight back, what does that mean? It means chaos. It means war. It means a large-scale displacement of civilians. It means total collapse of economic activities in the region. It means exactly how it sounded, a black winter. Nobody wants that in Africa. Nobody wants it. I can tell you that for sure. Even you that is watching me, you don't want a war in West Africa. Nobody wants that to happen. But guess who is enabling this to happen? It is my own country, Nigeria. They are giving the enemies a base to launch these operations. Now, back to how Niger Republic is reacting to this, because ever since the bombing on December 26th, there has been reports of these insurgents fleeing across the border into Niger Republic exactly as intended. And Niger has responded with a large-scale military conscription. They are calling on every able-bodied man and woman in the country to enlist in the army. And they are responding. They don't even need to be forced. These guys, they love their country. They don't even need to be conscripted, because you will see Western media throwing the word conscription around. That is their favorite word. When there is a large-scale military recruitment in the AES, they will call it conscription. But in reality, these people are enlisting with their own mind. They are not being forced to enlist in the army. Just after 2 days of this announcement, 16,000 have already enlisted. And Niger Republic, General Chiani is targeting to make it, to take the military personnel from 40,000 to 100,000 in 2026. I mean, it is possible, because when you understand the scale of the enemy you are facing, you have no choice but to prepare yourself. You have no choice. Now, there's another angle to this latest development in Nigeria. Niger Republic has officially become an oil-producing country. In 2024, they began producing oil. They began exporting crude oil through a pipeline, about 2,000-kilometer pipeline that run across the borders they have between Benin Republic and Nigeria. This pipeline was constructed by a Chinese company and it cost about $5 billion to construct. And right now, that pipeline has a capacity, it is transporting crude oil from Niger of about 100,000 barrels of crude oil per day. And it has become the backbone of Niger's economy. And as a result, Niger has become one of the fastest growing economy in Africa right now. And guess what? This same pipeline has come under attack by this same jihadist. Now, connect the dots. Who benefits when that pipeline is disrupted? Do I need to remind you what happened in the early days of the Russian-Ukraine war when Joe Biden blew up a pipeline that is supplying gas to Germany? Yes, any such project that is not being backed by Western corporations, they don't like it. So China built this pipeline to transport crude oil from Niger Republic, a lot of billions of dollars. And all of a sudden, that pipeline has come under attack. And after the airstrike in Nigeria on December 26th, there were reports that the attacks on this pipeline has increased. And that is an existential threat to Niger Republic, which is exactly why this large-scale military mobilization is currently going on in Niger Republic. And we have seen what they have been doing in Mali. They don't want Alliance of Sahel State economy to grow. They don't want them to have security. They want them to be in constant destabilization. They want to remove them from power. They want to pile pressure on them. The goal is not just to end what we know today as the Alliance of Sahel State. The goal is to make sure that such union does not come up anywhere else in Africa, because African unity has always been a threat to Western imperialists. Any talk of Pan-Africanism, they see it as a threat. They don't want Africa to be a united continent. We all saw what happened a few days ago when Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu unilaterally became the first country to recognize Somaliland as an independent country. And it has led to a lot of outrage from African Union, from Somali, even from Nigeria, and almost every Islamic country on earth has condemned it. That is another story entirely, the rivalry between Israel and every other Islamic country. But the point I want to make is this: they like Africa divided. They like Africa weaker. So Alliance of Sahel States is the first time that 3 countries decided to cede some of their powers in their federation and form a confederation, an actual confederation, more than what we saw between Senegal and Gambia. For decades, Senegal and Gambia, they were a confederation. We call them Senegambia. And it wasn't necessarily a military-backed confederation. It's basically economies. But the confederation ended. Now, we are having a real confederation with a standing army right now in West Africa. You can see the speed they are using in achieving everything they want to achieve. You can see how they have, within 2 years, established their standby force. You can see how they have established their investment bank. You can see all the development happening in that region, all because they have decided to be united as one confederation, as one strong, united front against imperialism, against resource extraction, and against the fact that they don't seem to accept the fact that African governments have the right to partner with any country they want to partner with. They believe that they have a birthright to Africa. They believe that they have an eternal right to decide what happens in this continent. But that is not the reality on ground, because we are now heading into a multipolar world. It means that there is no longer going to be one superpower calling the shots. We now have China, we now have Russia, and of course, there is the United States and the European Union. Africa is free to partner with any of these global powers. Yes, Africa is free to partner with any of them. It has to be strategic and it has to be based on mutual respect. This is the path the AES has chosen in Africa, but they don't like it. So what we are seeing right now that officially began on December 25th is a preparation of a large-scale military confrontation in West Africa. And we are not going to be taken by surprise, because I believe the AES have more intelligence and more information than all of us in the media. And for good reason, they cannot reveal everything that they know that is happening. But at least Ibrahim Traore gave us a hint that this Black Winter is coming. And they are preparing for this. This mobilization that is going on in Niger Republic, people are responding to it. A lot of people are enlisting. They want to protect their motherland. They want to protect their homeland. It is homeland or death for them. And that is a noble act by any patriotic citizen in Niger Republic, in the whole of AES. And such patriotism is not something you can find in Nigeria, unfortunately. Do you know that in Nigeria, the military cried out that young Nigerians are no longer agreeing to enlist in the military? A few years ago, even myself, I once considered enlisting in the military as a young man before I even understand what the world was talking about. I tried. I wasn't given a chance. In Nigeria, they have this, federal character thing. They have quotas, and it is always going to favor northern Nigeria. A guy like me that is from the south, I don't have a chance to easily enlist in the Nigerian army. I wasn't given the chance. And the same can be said of a lot of Nigerians in those days when the military had a little bit of dignity. But right now, young people in Nigeria are no longer enlisting in the army. The military cried out a few months back that even the ones that are enlisting, they are running away. Yes, they are running away. They don't want to die for Nigeria. But that is almost the opposite of what we are seeing in Niger Republic, because the people in the Sahel has finally understand that they are well informed about what is going on. They understand that for generations, France has had a military base in their country. They have been pretending to fight these jihadists, but after a lot of, the Barkhane Operation Barkhane, for decades, they were not able to solve this insurgency problem. And all they have been doing is to take the uranium in Niger Republic. Yes, is to take the uranium in Niger Republic, and they take this uranium and power up France. But even in Niger, rural electrification is one of the lowest in the whole of Africa. How can you explain that to an ordinary guy in the streets of Niamey, that the country that powers France does not have electricity? They have lived through this. So it's not going to be a surprise if at the end of January that it has jumped from 16,000 enlisted personnel to an additional 20,000. I'm not going to be surprised, because they understand that this is war. They understand that they are fighting for their homeland. It is homeland or death. They understand that their country needs them now more than ever. And they have this patriotism flowing in their veins. This is completely absent from Nigeria and a lot of West African countries. And there will be a lot of information to come out in the next couple of days, because There are even reports that the US is considering sending ground troops to Nigeria to fight insurgents and protect Christians. When that happens, you know that it is time. You know that the ground operation, the moment they mobilize ground operation in Nigeria, it will be to your tent. Everyone will go and answer his father's name. It's either you enlist in the army, in the AES, or they will combine with the combined force of ECOWAS and the ground troop of US military personnel and even France. They will launch an assault on the AES and they will forcefully try to remove them from power and restore them to democracy. That is the primary objective. Every other rhetoric that Western media is running with, it is a smoke screen. It is a smoke screen. At the end of the day, you have to understand that this black winter that Traore talked about, it is already happening. This is no longer something to expect in a distant future. You know why? Because a large-scale military mobilization is already going on in Niger Republic. The US is already considering sending ground troops to Nigeria. And when that happens, you know that it is no longer a game. It is no longer a child's play. And I believe and I have the confidence that the AES will do whatever it takes to win this war, should the US decide to escalate. Because don't trust or believe everything or anything you're hearing from the mainstream media that this is about fighting terrorism in Nigeria. Like I said earlier, if it is a serious operation about Nigeria and Nigerians, the president of Nigeria will take it more seriously. But from what we have seen so far, it doesn't seem to take it that serious. Bro is somewhere chilling on holiday when his country is burning. He has not appeared on the national television to address the country. So these are the things you need to consider. So when they tell you that Nigeria is being saved from terrorism, Nigerian Christians are being saved, you have to look at each of these points that I am making. You have to look at this point, because if it is about Nigerians being saved, we will see Nigerian military leading the assault on these terrorists. You will see Nigerian military taking the lead, updating on the progress they are making. But it's almost like the US will first of all release statement, or Donald Trump will post on Truth Social. The next thing you see is that Nigerian foreign minister will appear on Twitter or any local media or any international media. And then he will pretend like it is a joint statement with the United States. They will pretend like there is some kind of back and forth communication, intelligence sharing between the two countries. From where I stand, from what I can understand that is going on right now, I don't think there is much of intelligence sharing between Nigeria and the US. The US, they are acting on their own. They are acting based on their primary objective, and they have already set their own narrative in motion. What Western media are currently running on is that Donald Trump is saving Nigerian Christians. That is the official disclaimer. That is the official narrative. But here on this channel, we don't flow with official narratives. We look beyond what the mainstream media is saying. We look beyond what Donald Trump is posting on Truth Social, and we look at his actions. His actions is what we are going to follow here, not what he is saying. And what he is doing is chasing these terrorists back to the AES. And Niger Republic is doing everything they can to stop them in their borders, to make sure they don't come back and continue the carnage that they have been doing in the region since the revolutionary government came into power in 2023. And more importantly, to protect that oil pipeline that runs through Benin Republic and Nigeria. Because should anything happen to that petroleum oil pipeline, it will be a disaster for Niger Republic. It will reverse almost every economic gain the country has been making since coming to power. And this is existential for the country right now. So the stakes couldn't be any higher right now. The stakes are very high right now. And if you are paying attention to what is happening in West Africa, we need your support. We need you to share this video. We need you to drop your comment and like it, because believe me, YouTube is not going to be happy that we are saying these things that we are saying here. They are going to try to suppress our content. They will try to do everything to make sure thousands of people don't see it. But with your support and with your commitment to this sovereignty and revolution that is currently going on in West Africa, our message will get to the right people. And how do you do that? You comment, you subscribe to the channel, and you share. When you do that, the algorithm will be powerless to suppress our videos. Now, drop a comment. What do you think will happen in the next 1 week to 1 month? Do you think that this thing will actually escalate to a direct ground troop confrontation between the AES and the US military, or should I say, including the Nigerian military? Because they have already proven that they can mobilize into another African country. We already saw it in Benin Republic. If they can do it in Benin Republic, Emmanuel Macron makes that phone call again. Who's to say they will not mobilize and actually enter into the AES? So these are the possibilities right now. What do you think about all of this in the comment section? Tell us what you think, and maybe consider to subscribe. I know I have an average of between 300,000 to 400,000 monthly viewers of this channel. Guess what? I am struggling to cross 40,000 this year. And that means that a lot of people that watch my videos, they are not subscribers to this channel. Subscribing will help this message a lot, and it is a patriotic thing to do. We all cannot enlist in the Niger military or in the AES military, but we all can subscribe to this channel. That is the least we can do. Now, subscribe to this channel and also turn on those notifications so you always see my videos whenever it drops. I am still your host, Ezekiel Enejeta, and I will see you in the next one. It's a bye-bye for now.